conflict, the health service is at breaking point. Imam Hussein Charity aims to help provide a better future for these impoverished patients, aiding them with finances for their prescriptions as well as dialysis of their kidneys. You can help our brothers and sisters with purchases of prescriptions for just £20, and for £200 help a patient with a dialysis procedure. To donate or for more information, visit www.imamhusseincharity.com.
We question our daily position, seeking answers and definitions. Get the queries off your chest with Ahkam SOS.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. This is a live show. We're taking all of your questions. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask, please send them in via the WhatsApp, the email address. You can call us live if you want, 0203-515-0199. Or alternatively, if you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section. And inshallah, my technical team will be able to send them to me on my iPad. I'm your host, Hussein, and joining me is Sheikh Ali Ma. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
How are you doing this evening?
Alhamdulillah.
How's the fast going?
Alhamdulillah, maqbool al-ta'at,
inshallah. Sheikh, we always start with a dua, and you did the sharh of the dua, so over to you. Bismillah, tafadhal.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. A great dua to recite in the holy month of Ramadan, especially on the 13th day, 14th day and the 15th day of the month of Ramadan, which is known as Layali al-Bid, the white, or Ayam al-Bid, the white days, due to the moon being complete on these days and nights. So dua starts with all tasbihat, praising Allah Azza wa Jal, known as dua al-Mujir, very important to recite in this holy month. سبحانك يا الله تعاليت يا رحمن أجرنا من النار يا مجير. Glory to be to Allah Azza wa Jal. Exalted are you, O Beneficent. Keep us safe from the everlasting fire of O Giver of refuge. In other words, we seek Allah Azza wa Jal, ask Allah Azza wa Jal to save us from the hellfire in this dua specifically. And then we continue, Subhanaka ya Rahim, O the merciful, Ta'alayta ya Kareem, O the generous, Ajirna min nar ya Mujir. Again, we ask Allah to keep us safe from, na'udhu billah, the hellfire and the torment and the adab of the hellfire, na'udhu billah. So important dua al-Mujir, to be recited on the 13th, 14th and 15th of the month of Ramadan. Also, you can recite it other days and nights. It should be fine, inshallah.
Ahsan, Sheikh. Sheikh, now let's go to the questions. What cases the necessity, qada and kafara?
If somebody ascribes lies to Allah and to the Holy Prophet and his pure family, alayhim salam, the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, alayhim salam, then of course that will invalidate the fast, and the one should obliged to basically do the qada of that day, and of course to give a single kafara with this regard. So yes, one of the situations. Also, there's another situation in which if someone who is able to find out the Maghrib time, but he would rely or she would rely on somebody else's words. So if somebody relied on the matter of the Maghrib time, for example, the Adhan time, let's say on his son or daughter, who is only, say, 10, 12, who you can't really trust 100% on these timings, for example, somebody that you can't rely on 100%, and one eventually broke their fast according to their tellings, but now you found out it wasn't right. It was 5 minutes earlier in which you broke your fast. In this case, this requires to be done as qada and kafara as well, just one kafara. Because you should have relied on somebody who you can trust, not your, let's say, young children, and you ask them for the, what is the time of the Maghrib, so you can break a fast. You have to ask those who you can trust, and let's say elderly ones or adults, for example, in this case.
Nowadays you can go online, everything's online now. So you can go and get all the information directly. Sheikh, questions coming in from our viewers from YouTube. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
I was in the middle of a lecture. I burped and something came up to my throat and I swallowed it because I didn't realize I could spit it out on a handkerchief if I had. Also, I sneezed and swallowed the mucus in my mouth. Is my fast still valid? Please advise. Okay, Sheikh, burping and something coming up. Normally that's to do with acidity in the stomach and the acid comes up. Normally it doesn't come past the throat, so you can't like try and spit it out. It won't come. So you have to swallow that regardless. So
yes.
Is that one okay? Secondly, sneezing and mucus came into the mouth, but they swallowed it rather than spit it out. Is the fast void?
What they say in the books of the Masail al-Islamiyya that as a precaution one should not swallow that mucus to avoid swallowing that mucus as a precaution.
I see.
Yeah.
So if you can spit it out, spit it out. If not, swallowing is okay. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum. What is the ruling for men having long hair up to the shoulders and long beard? How much long beard is it? Okay, so how long is the beard, the length of the beard acceptable?
Overall, if it doesn't causes some kind of, as I've said before, tashabbuh, if it's to do with the long hair, to the ladies, for example, it's just a long hair, should be fine, as long as there's no, how can I say, haram behind these.
Didn't Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't he have long hair?
They had in the old days. They had long hairs, of course, but they used to shave it. For example, in Hajj, in other occasions, they used to shave, as I've said, in Hajj, for example.
Okay.
But in anyhow, the Arabs used to have their hair long, and even the beards. But the beard up to the fist,
One fist max.
For the
Some
birds.
say it's haram for it to grow further than the fist. I've heard it's makruh. Sheikh, from your research,
it's not haram, but it's discouraged to do so. One should avoid it.
Having it longer than the fistful.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go further down. We've got a very, very long question here. Brother, would you please answer me if this program will continue after Ramadan or it will stop? Okay. I feel your program is okay. Thank you very much. Very useful, and thank you very much for all your kind comments. Let's get to your question. I would like to ask the Mulana the following questions. Why Shia people stand separate from each other during Salah, while in Sunni sects they ask every person to touch shoulder to shoulder? Why is there a difference? Okay, that's the first question. Let's answer that, and we'll go on to the others that this brother has, or sister has put forward. Sheikh, when in our Sunni brothers and sisters in their schools of thought, they encourage to stand shoulder to shoulder, and even their feet should touch one another. They should be very close when it comes to Jama'ah. With us Shia, where we don't encourage that as much. We do stand next to each other in Salah. We encourage Jama'ah Salah, but they're not tightly packed. Why is this so?
I think because of their fiqh is different than our fiqh, that they're very strict with these regards. That has to be shoulder to shoulder, and they say staw wa'tadilu. Staw means stand
straight
and be straight. Yeah, so that's why they have nice lines, straight lines. But what is important is the context of the salah. That the salah should have wilayat for Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. It doesn't matter how beautiful they pray, how beautiful they recite in the Masjid al-Haram, Masjid al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, with that, by the heart and the recitation. But without the wilayah, this has no value in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal. Without wilayah of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And of course, that's in our fiqh, the way we stand and pray. There's no that much restriction or difficulty in terms of the standing positions or the ahkam. It's just the jama'ah, yes, being next to your brother in faith, and follow the imam straight up.
Okay, so the second question this person has posted: if all Muslims at the beginning, they were one ummah during our Prophet, peace be upon him's time, why Shia sect people change its method of ablution of performing salah from Sunni people. Okay, so if we were all one ummah at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why do we have differences in wudu and in salah?
These differences in ibadah, as I've said before, it came due to the change of the direction of the Khilafah from Ahlul Bayt, as the Holy Prophet advised in the books of Shia and the Sunnah. وَذَكِّرُكُمْ اللَّهُ فِي أَهْلِ بَيْتِي, I remind you of my Ahlul Bayt, my progeny. I leave two weighty things, necessary things, Kitabullah wa Atrati Ahlul Bayti. I leave the Holy Book of Allah and my progeny. Many narrations with regards to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam in their books as well, emphasizing that. But when some of the companions came and changed the direction of the Khilafah to some other people who are not fit for this Khilafah, and they caused a lot of issues and bloodshed and so forth as a result, and disunity between the Muslim Ummah. That's why we have now different fiqhs and opinions with this regard. Now they have even, as I've said this before many times, that they even changed the salah, they even changed the siyam, hajj, everything's been changed as ibadah. Why? Because when it comes to neglecting and ignoring the appointment for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the message of Allah Azza wa Jal, of course, you'll come like other religions and doctrines. They've deviated and changed the aqidah eventually. In which the Prophet of Allah, Nabiullah Isa alayhi salam, he became son of God, na'udhu billah, as a result.
Okay, third question, Sheikhna. Assalamu alaikum. You mentioned before about the dunya that we were in before we came to the earth. What is the name of that dunya? Thank you. Can you please repeat it?
Well, that's known as alam, not dunya. This is dunya, and the alam al-dunya.
Alam al-dunya, okay.
The alam before dunya was alam al-dhar,
Alam al-dhar.
in which we were in the small entities, and Allah Azza wa Jal brought us all in one location, and He said, Alastu bi rabbikum? Qalu bala. We said all bala.
Ahsan. Unfortunately, I've not been in Hajj. I've not gone to Hajj because I always believe that instead of paying all the travel expenses, instead give to the needy people in our area instead. As well as I believe when you go there and ask Allah sincerely from bottom of your heart to be forgiven, He will do. But when you return to your own town among people and friends, almost everybody makes a ghaiba from each other. And if you are in these meetings and try not to leave the meeting, you will be part of them. And as a result, your sin increases step by step. So in Hajj, your sin meter is 0, but when you return back to your community, your sin meter increases. Is this a good enough excuse not to go to Hajj, Sheikhna?
You see, we cannot create excuses for our own notions and thoughts. That, I'm not going to pay khumus and zakat, but I'm going to pay them to the poor individuals. No, these are wajib huquq. You have to pay them accordingly to the way it's been mentioned. You can't just take them and pay it in the way that you like. You can't say that I want to pray Salat Subh 4 rak'ah because 2 is not enough, because I'm waking up in the middle of the night, do the wudu in this cold weather, and stand just for 2 rak'ah. Let me pray 4 rak'ah, for example. We can't worship Allah Azza wa Jal in the way that we like. We have to worship Allah Azza wa Jal according to what He has instructed and informed us to do so. So likewise the Hajj, when Allah says in the Quran that man istata'a alayhi sabila, that Hajj, if you have istata'a, capability, you have the means, you have the money, you have the passport, you have the visas, everything, all the conditions, it becomes wajib on you, like the salah, like the sawm. So you have to go for the Hajj. If you are capable and you have the means, it's wajib. And you are disobedient if you do not go and spend this money somewhere else. You have to spend it in the Hajj. Now it's wajib on you for your first Hajj to go, and inshallah Allah Azza wa Jalla would fulfill your needs and sustain you with rizq, inshallah, more and more.
Inshallah. Sheikhna, more questions coming in. Let's go to the YouTube questions. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If I brush my teeth and did not swallow water because I found some food in my mouth while fasting, will that break my fast? Thank you so much.
If he doesn't swallow?
I brushed my teeth and did not swallow
yeah, that's
the
fine.
water.
That's fine. That's the condition we say, that always avoid swallowing the paste or the water when you brush. But make sure you do it at night. That's safe side. So
just to clarify, this is another YouTube question to clarify. So if you burp and acidity comes out and you swallow it, is your fast valid? I think we mentioned, Sheikh, that if you can spit it out, spit it. If it doesn't go past the throat, then you're going to have to swallow it. Salam, can I break my fast during a journey? That's from YouTube.
Means he's a musafir, traveler.
Yeah.
If he exceeds the hadd shar'i travel, which is about 22 kilometers.
One direction.
Yeah, 13 miles, yeah?
13 miles in one direction from the boundary of your city.
Exactly, not from your home.
No, from home.
Yeah, if you pass that shar'i distance, then you can break your fast and pray short as well.
Inshallah, ahsant. Salam Sheikh. From YouTube, I've heard that if a woman gets a menstrual period after dhuhr while fasting, she cannot eat or drink and has to complete the fast, although the fast is void. Is this true according to His Eminence, the Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sistani? So, the female, the sister, she's fasting, everything's normal, and after dhuhr, her menstrual cycle starts. Now, is that fast now void and she has to do a qada of it? And secondly, can she start eating and drinking or not? Or does she have to continue the fast until Maghrib Ramadan, then she can start to eat and drink?
Of course, I mean, the one who is in this state, of course, she has no longer wajib for her to perform any fast. The fast will be batil in this case. But if there's such a mas'ala, I have to go back and see if the Sayyid has mentioned any mas'ala with this regard, that she has to stop eating and drinking, although she is in this situation. So I have to check that. Thank you.
Awesome. Just a quick reminder to all our viewers that this is a live show. We do taking your questions. So if you want to send in your question, send it via the WhatsApp. The number's down below. Send it via email. The email address is there below as well. You can call us 0203 515 0199, or if you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section and the technical team will send them to my iPad here, and inshallah we'll be able to discuss and answer your questions. And we've got more and more questions coming in. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is laser hair removal a valid thing in Islam? Is it allowed? Yani, can we do it? Removing hair, I mean, both male and females both do it, Sheikhna. Whether it's to do with, eyebrows or facial hair or hair on the body and so forth, is a hair removal acceptable in Islam?
As long as there's no haram or harm involved in this process, that should be fine.
So haram would be maybe if a female was conducting the procedure on a male, or vice versa, a male
exactly. And sometimes a female would do this process, a doctor female, let's say, with a patient female, but to do the private area.
Yeah.
That's the problem as well.
I see. So, yeah, there we go. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I've been doing some research on Prophet Sulaiman and Balqis. It says that she wasn't human and that they had children. Is that true?
She wasn't a human.
Yeah.
I haven't heard such a thing. She was a female, a human being,
and
a king of Sheba. So,
awesome.
Very strange.
Fair enough. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. I'm diabetic type 1, and my sugar is very low. Should I break it or fast? Okay, break my fast or fast till the end. Is it haram to not break it if my situation are bad? From YouTube. Sheikh, type 1 diabetes is mainly caused by stress and so forth. And this person, they are a patient of low sugar levels. So obviously during fasting, their sugar levels drop quite immensely. They may faint. They may feel very, very weak and fatigued. Should they, when they feel like that, should they break their fast or should they continue to the end?
I mean, initially they have to consult their own doctor to see what he says or she says. And also if they think that they can't continue fasting due to these side effects, fainting and so forth, of course, they have to break their fast.
Doesn't fainting break the fast if you go unconscious?
Yes. One of the ways, yeah.
If I fall unconscious during my fast and I wake up, when I gain consciousness.
Yeah, what Ayatollah Shirazi states that if this was between in the time of Salatul Dhuhr and Asr, so before the Dhuhr Asr you fainted and you woke up after Dhuhr Asr or Adhan, then the Sawm will be void and batal. Yes.
Later on is okay.
Others may say they got their own opinions. We have to see others.
Okay. No, I was going to say if I fall unconscious and then I gain consciousness, can I start to eat and drink now, or should I still remain from eating and drinking?
I'm not sure about this mas'ala, but in overall, in some masail, they would say that you have to refrain from eating, drinking. Even if your sawm is batil now,
Yeah,
you have to refrain.
Yeah.
In
Okay, we'll check that out.
some
because
rules, yeah.
sometimes food is necessary
Exactly.
for people who are fainting, especially. Another one from YouTube here. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. In
Assalamu.
congregational prayer, are we to recite what is to be recited in ruku and sujood, or is it only the imam? So when we're praying in jama'ah salah,
Yes.
do we recite the dhikr of ruku and sujood, or do we listen to what the imam is saying of the jama'ah?
The only dhikr that you have to avoid saying is Alhamd and Surah, in which the Imam is reciting. So you have to keep quiet, or do tasbihat, as I've said before, Subhanallah, La ilaha illallah. But Hamd and Surah should be not read with the Imam, as he's reading those two surah. Other than that, you have to recite it by yourself. Ruku' dhikr, sujood dhikr, tashahud dhikr, qunut, tasbihat, al-arba'a on the third and fourth. You have to recite them by yourself. Other than Hamd and Surah, you can recite, or you have to recite the rest of the adhkar.
More questions coming in from YouTube, Sheikhna. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalam.
Why is a makruh act not haram, for example? If Allah dislikes something, why has He not made it haram and only makruh? And wouldn't makruh acts entail haram, since it is in the dislikeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That's from YouTube. Makruh isn't really disliked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's more discouraged, I think, Sheikhna, as in like it's a bad. For example, smoking. Smoking is not haram, but it's probably discouraged for health reasons. Furthermore, certain animals, they're not najis and not haram for you to consume, but they're kind of like discouraged that don't eat too much of it. It's not good for you, and so forth. So makruhat. Why has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created makruhat? Also, Sheikhna, Aimma and the prophets and Anbiya and stuff, did they ever do makruhat, or did they stay away from makruhat?
Yes, initially, Islam is compared to other religions, and ancient religions, is a lenient religion in terms of the ahkam. It wasn't harsh. I mean, if you go back to the Bani Israel time, the way in which they used to purify the najasa, they used to scratch it. Let's say with pebbles or stone. Imagine to scratch the najasa from the skin or the body. Now, alhamdulillah, you pour water and that's it. It becomes tahir. So this Sharia of Islam is more lenient, more easy in terms of for the believers of Islam. So that's why we have 5 hukum in terms of the ahkam khamsa in fiqh: wajib, makruh, mustahab, mubah, and haram. I think 5. So these ahkam there, in which when you search about how much haram we have, you see we have more halal than haram, and that's the beauty of the Islam, the easiness of Islam given to their followers. So yes, makruh is there because, as I've said, some acts in which discouraged, but not haram, for example. This is all, as I've said before, some of these ahkam we know why, the reason for, let's say, this act is mustahab or makruh. Sometimes we don't know. Tawqifi, we can't really find the explanation of this act. In overall, there are benefits with these makruhat or mustahabbat. That makruh, if you refrain, you'll be in safe side in terms of health-wise, other issues, for example. For example, eating with the left hand, discouraged, for example. Other ahkam, because with the left hand you would do things in which you don't do with the right hand, in the bathroom, for example. So, there are benefits, health benefits, for example, and other benefits to do or not to do. So it's both, basically. Hijama is something encouraged in Islam, to do hijama, to have your excess, of blood to be taken out from the body,
deoxygenated,
and so forth. Yeah. So these are something that benefits the human being as a whole. Even if the non-Muslim would do it, they benefit from hijama and so forth. So it's all to do with benefiting the human being in anyhow. And of course, the reward will be in akhirah as well.
Inshallah. Ahsan. Again from YouTube. In Surah Baqarah, verse 111 says, "None shall enter paradise unless he be a Jew or a Christian." Can you further elaborate, please?
What's the Arabic verses?
They haven't given
That
it.
would be better to
Surah
easy.
Baqarah, verse 111.
Can you read the translation again, please?
Is Surah Baqarah, verse 111 says, "None shall enter paradise unless he be a Jew or Christian." Can you further elaborate?
I have to see the Arabic
Do you
verse.
want me to get it for you? Do you want me to get it for you now?
I think we don't have time, so
Ah, fair
we'll leave it
enough.
after break. If
I'll
we go
get it
for
on my
break,
phone for you,
inshallah,
no problem.
we can
Okay,
do it
we'll
after
come back
break.
to that one. Assalamu alaikum. I've never been to Hajj, but since we have to pray with our Sunni brothers in Jama'ah, how can I pray the Shia way in the Haram? Sheikh, have you been to Hajj?
Yes, many times.
And did you pray the
Alhamdulillah.
Sunni way, the Shia way when you were there?
I wouldn't be there in the Salah time,
Mhm.
but if I'm there and I'm compelled to, pray with them, I would pray Furada.
Mhm.
So I would read the Hamdan Surah myself and then
Yeah.
go with them, ruku' and then sujood and then get up with them. But I
Yeah.
would make the intention of praying Furada. That's how I would do it if I was there.
I see. Okay. Next question from YouTube. Assalamu alaikum. Can you take a blood test in Ramadan? Secondly, can you donate blood in Ramadan?
You can do blood test, yes, but avoid things which weaken your body because you're fasting now. So try to avoid it in somehow. Giving blood and so forth, try to avoid it because that weakens your body
Yeah,
as far as
definitely.
fasting is
Sheikh, now
concerned.
we're going to go to a short break. Join us after the break as we continue our discussion here on the Ahkam SOS.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of
Is it
scholars at
permissible to
home.
plant trees by or
What
over
does Islam
the
establish
graves?
based on peace
Is
and
it permissible
non-violence?
to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there an
countries?
issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, call in on +44 2035 150199 or WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155. Alternatively, you can also email us on ahkamsos@imamhussein.tv.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Ahkam SOS. And you saw there have many ways that you can send in your questions, either via WhatsApp, your email address. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook Live, you can put your questions in the comment section. Or alternatively, give us a call in the studio, 0203-515-0199. And inshallah, myself and the Sheikh will be able to discuss and answer all of your queries. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sheikhna, Surah Baqarah verse 111 says, "None shall enter paradise unless he be a Jew or Christian." Can you further elaborate?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقالوا لن يدخل الجنة إلا من كان هودا أو نصارى. And they said, possibly the Ahlul Kitab, nobody will enter the paradise except if they are Jewish or Christians. They said. But see the reply from the Quran. تلك أمانيهم, that is their wishes. قل هاتوا برهانكم إن كنتم صادقين. Bring your evidence if you're truthful. Bring your evidence. بلى من أسلم وجهه لله وهو محسن فله أجر عند ربه. This is the one who surrenders to Allah Azza wa Jal. أسلم لله, be a Muslim, believer in Allah Azza wa Jal, believes in the Tawheed Allah Azza wa Jal, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He will be the one who gonna get the rewards from Allah Azza wa Jal. That's the meaning.
Sheikhna. Thank you very much. More questions coming in from YouTube. What if someone forgets he is on the third or fourth rak'ah? Thank you. Oh, don't know where that one's coming from, but I think he's okay, Sheikhna. So when it comes to salah,
Yes.
whether it's the first, second, third, or fourth rak'ah, what is one to do if they forget which rak'ah they're on?
No, if there are ahkam for each rak'ah.
So I know first and second,
It's
you have to
batil.
abandon the
Batil,
prayer
yeah.
and you have to start again.
Exactly.
third and fourth,
You
you can, but that's only if it's a four rakat prayer.
Yeah, 4
so Dhuhr, Asr, and Isha.
exactly.
If
Yeah.
you don't know it's your third or fourth, you should end your salah. You should act as if it is your
As
fourth
a fourth,
rak'ah.
yeah, and then add
Finish it
rak'ah
off, and then you
ihtiyat
do
extra.
one ihtiyat with the sajda
Yeah.
sahw as well, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum,
Assalamu
Sheikhna. Did
rahmatullah.
all Majlisi believe in tahrif according to Mara'at al-Uqul? YouTube. Uqul.
You see, I haven't looked at the book Marat al-Uqul with this regard. I have to see what the Allama says in overall. However, we as Shia of Ahl-Bayt, the ulama, the maraj, we all, could be one or two, but the majority, we believe, the consensus is that the Quran was revealed, this Quran that we read in the holy month of Ramadan, other days and nights during the year, is the Quran in which was revealed on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as it is. So there's no tahrif, there's no
addition or subtraction,
manipulation and change in the Holy Quran at all.
From YouTube again, Sheikhna, how do I enter Jama'ah prayer while the prayer is going on? Do I have to repeat it after the Jama'ah prayer? Thank you. Okay, so this happens quite a lot, Sheikhna. You've come in, maybe they've already started the Jama'ah prayer. When is a good time to enter the prayer? And if the prayer finishes before your salah finishes, do you carry on or do you finish the prayer, get up and start again? How does it work?
Yeah, you have to join the Salah Jama'ah when the Imam is standing and reciting the Hamd and Surah or Tasbihat al-Arba'ah in the third and fourth rak'ah, or join him in the rak'ah, in the ruku'. While he's in the ruku', join him, and then you can finish off and add your own rak'at when the Imam finishes. Let's say you prayed with the Imam Jama'ah 2 rak'ah only, and you went to the tashahhud of your second rak'ah and his last rak'ah with the Imam. So you stand up and you continue your salah furada by yourself, as usual. Yes.
Hassan. More questions coming in from YouTube. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If I have doubt that I've just finished my salah and did Allahu Akbar 3 times and realized it is the second rak'ah of Dhuhr, do I continue with the third rak'ah? What do I do? Okay, so you've ended your prayer and then you just realized, oh, I've ended my prayer early. Do I get up and continue, or do I have to start from the beginning?
As long as you haven't damaged the posture of the salah, you didn't go to the left or to the right, you just stand up, continue with your salah, and then you do sajdatay sahu for saying salam in the wrong place. So sajdatay sahu with this regard. Okay,
got a question here from YouTube. What about if the Imam recites Fatiha in the third and fourth rak'ah? I don't think there's any issue reciting Surah Fatiha by itself in the third and fourth rak'ah. There's no issue whatsoever. You can carry on. Okay, good question there. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I am left-handed, so I eat my food with left hand, but many people try to stop me, but I can't. So is there any answer I can answer them with? That's from YouTube. Is it haram to eat with your left hand, Sheikh, or is it makruh? It's discouraged.
Discouraged, mentioned, yeah.
So you can, but it's discouraged. You shouldn't do it. But okay, fair enough. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. Can we have intercourse during Ramadan? Of course, I mean after iftar. Is one allowed to go to their wife, Sheikh, or their husband after iftar?
The Quran is very clear. أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ. In the night time with Ramadan, of course, not in the daytime.
It's not forbidden.
Yes.
You may do. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. The rescue remedy. Oh, we had that yesterday. We need to find out a bit more. Give us time about that. We have contacted people that we need to contact, and inshallah we'll have an answer for you as soon as possible. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. In the opinion of His Eminence Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi, Hafidhullah, are shur latmiya permissible, and also the use of drum or flutes for latmiya? That's from WhatsApp.
2 different questions. Initially, the shur latmiya in overall is accepted. There's no issue with it. As long as the sanctity of the majlis or the aza has been preserved. We just say Hussein, what's wrong with it? It says aza, but it's a bit fast, fast method and way by the youth, especially. They like it. So why not? What's wrong with it? I don't know why some people are against it. Even if some from the some of the mu'ammamin in which they would not encourage this act, although it's just sure. Of course, we have to see in some situations what has been said, for example, yes, we have to observe that. In overall, there's no issue with it, but to use the flutes and musical instruments, according to Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi, it's not permissible at all. With the Azza, without the Azza, with anything, absolutely all types of music is haram.
But Sheikh, we have sometimes, even with like Zanjir Zani and so forth, they'll have a drum, but the drum is there to keep people calm and to keep people in the rhythm so they don't go. People do get emotional and people can't take it too far.
Yes, the Sayyid and others would say that the drum which is used in the war, not the drum which is used for musical purposes, let's say, I don't know what types of drums are available currently, but the drum which is known to be used for war, to inform that there's a war, there's something. They used to use it in the old days. That is allowed with the skin. They will make with like a goat skin or sheep skin and so forth. But the drum, we have to see if that is part of the music instruments, and of course not permissible. So it depends on the types of the drums.
Sheikhna, from WhatsApp, what is the significance and where did Dua Tawassul come from?
رواية
Dua Tawassul.
دعاء التوسل.
We recite on Tuesday nights.
Yes, you see, each dua has a reference. When you recite the dua, initially try to see, for example, who narrated this dua. For example, I narrated dua al-Mujir today. It is mentioned that Jibreel alayhi salam, he brought this dua to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was praying in Maqam Ibrahim, and he gave him this dua, Ajirna min nar ya Mujir. So a great dua to be recited in this holy month, especially on the 13th, 14th, 15th. So likewise, Hadith al-Kisa, dua tawassul, there should be some kind of chain of narrators and sanad to this dua, of course, by the Ma'soom.
Sheikhna, Assalamu alaikum from YouTube. When one recites Quran and reaches the sajda ayah, what should someone supposed to say in a particular sajda? So when we recite one of the wajib sujood that we have to do in Quran, what do we recite when we're going to sujood?
You can recite anything, but what is mentioned is to say La ilaha illallah haqqan haqqa, La ilaha illallah imanan wa tasdiqa, La ilaha illallah ubudiyatan wa raqqa, and then there's the rest of the dua.
Wow.
So that's mentioned, but you can recite anything if you wish. Salawat.
And is it two sujoods as a couple?
One sajda for one ayah, as mentioned.
You just have to do it once, and that's
just
it?
Once, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Saw in Surah Ma'idah, verse number 6, why does it say hand to elbow in the description of wudu and not from elbow?
Yes, we had this discussion in the house a long time ago. This ayah tries to give the boundary of the wudu. It's from here to here. It's not telling us to do wudu, to start the wudu from here, from this position.
Yes.
The boundary for wudu is from here to there. It's just the position, the boundary of the wudu, basically.
I see.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So, okay, more questions coming in. Some of them are repeats. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalam.
Why do some Shia believe that Walayat al-Faqih defined by the Iranian government is part of Islam? Are we required to believe in this? So the concept of Walayat al-Faqih or the concept of any Islamic government that we have today, Sheikhna, are we as Muslims required to believe in these Islamic governments that we have? Whether it's in Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Iran, any country that says that they have like Islamic Sharia.
The problem is anything that is taken from Islam, any subject or topic or belief, and taken to the politics, that will distort and ruin that notion. Let's say jihad,
yes,
by the extremists. The jihad, we're killing the kuffar,
yes,
and beheading people. So you can easily take any ayah or riwayah and make it, bring it into the politics and ruin that notion and mafhum of this ayah or riwayah or aqidah or belief. As I've said before, the faqih or the jurist has some kind of wilaya over some issues, such as issue with the war, for example, marriage, divorce, khums issues, zakat issues. some kind of wilaya, but not the absolute wilaya mutlaqa. That's what we reject. There's no wilaya mutlaqa. The ma'soom has only the wilaya mutlaqa. You can't treat people like slaves, you know. Whatever you can do with them, you can do with them. Issue a fatwa, do this, go that. Attack this country, you know, kill that. No, you can't. Limited wilaya, and the absolute is with the ma'soom alayhi salam. That's the difference.
Ahsantum, Sheikhna. Got some questions here from WhatsApp. If I can find one. There we go. Assalamu alaikum. According to Ayatollah Sheikh Bashir Najafi, if I have a Muslim wife, temporary or permanent, and I'm going to another country for some work, then can I temporarily marry a woman from Ahl al-Kitab without letting my wife know?
As I've said, it depends if some maraja would not allow, except with permission, as I've said before. Some would say, like Ayatollah Shirazi, temporarily, short term, such as 1, 2, 3 days, for example. Not a long term, 1 or 2 months, for example. For the long term, you need to have the permission, for example.
Yeah.
Because that's second temporary wife is Ahl Kitab. And the actual wife, or the first wife, is a Muslim wife.
Yeah.
So there's a difference in terms of the opinions of this regard.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. This is from
Alaikum
WhatsApp. Salam. In advertising yesterday after the show about the charity, the host of Ahkam SOS, that's myself, mentioned the money could be fed to a family for Ramadan. Should you say the month of Ramadan instead of Ramadan in one of Allah's names as per hadith says? Wassalam.
Indeed, the month of Ramadan, I try to avoid saying Ramadan. We try to stick with the hadith, and inshallah, the brothers would, inshallah, for the next future promos,
I'll put my hands up to that one.
would use the month of Ramadan, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن.
Next question. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalamu alaikum.
The dua known as Sanim Quraysh or Al-Shahifa Alawiyya, where Imam Ali alayhi salam, may Allah curse the 2 idols of Quraysh, referring to the first and second Khalifas. If I recite this dua in English, will I get any thawab?
As I've said, the ad'iyah and the ziyarat, it's better to recite in Arabic as they were, especially if it's from the Ma'soom alayhi salam, that we recite as it is. If you can't recite it in Arabic, play the video or the audio of the dua, and of course look at the translation. That would be, of course, a credit, inshallah, and you're rewarded, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, I have to word this question correctly because we don't want to get in trouble with Ofcom. According to Islamic law, Sheikhna, from your research, your academic research, the LGBT community people, if they revert to Islam, is that okay?
With what they are, that they have.
So the LGBT people who revert to Islam, is that okay? Being part of the LGBT community, according to your academic research on Islamic law.
You see, we have our own rulings and ahkam, and likewise the Christians, the Jews, all the communities and religions and doctrines, they have their own beliefs, rulings and sharia, especially the Jewish community. So every community has their own beliefs in aqidah and ahkam. So we follow our ahkam. So when it comes to such situations, of course, we have to refer back to our maraja, to the ulama, to see what they say. If they become Muslim, then can they separate from themselves? Because they're actually committing ala kull hal something that is not allowed in the religion of Islam, for example. We might say that that's a separate issue. That's not a aqaidi issue. That's a ahkam issue. That's haram, halal. That's a major sin, for example. But if they believe in Allah Azza wa Jalla and the Holy Prophet, that should suffice, for example. In anyhow, Islam means taslim, submission. One should have full submission to the aqaid, to the beliefs in Islam, and to the ahkam as well. So when you become a Muslim, you have to believe in everything and implement all the wajib and refrain from the haram. So that is actually the real Islam is about. So we try to, implement all these ahkam rather than just pick a mix with this regard.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it admissible using gold and silver cufflinks, pins and tie pins. So Sheikh, you'll see it's very common. Cufflinks, to have gold or silver cufflinks, tie pins or pins that which they put in their blazers and stuff like that, badges and so forth, made out of gold and silver. Is this acceptable for men to wear?
The problem is what is mentioned in the Ahkam books, that wearing gold for men is haram. So that's the issue.
Gold for men?
Yeah, for men, wearing for men, gold, not silver. So you can't have silver, but the gold is the problem, in which you have to avoid wearing them.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. From WhatsApp, final question for this evening. Salam. What is the definition of Nasibi? Is it someone that has enmity towards the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam?
Yes, exactly. The one who established enmity against Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And he would, na'udhu billah, curse Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam somehow. But I've mentioned the hadith a couple of weeks ago that the Imam says the Nasibi is the one who establishes enmity against you, the Shia. الناصب للشيعتنا مضمون الحديث. That is also a Nasibi as well, the one who kills beheads the Shia because they follow Ali ibn Abi Talib salamullah. That is Nasibi as well, like ISIS and so forth.
I see. Sheikhna, final thoughts before we end the program.
Let's try to recite this dua, dua al-mujir inshallah, for the next coming days inshallah. May Allah Azza wa Jal forgive us and save us from the hellfire.
Thank you so much, Sheikh. Thank you to all of you for joining us on this episode of Ahkam SOS. If we didn't answer your question, I do apologize, and inshallah we'll roll it over to tomorrow's show where we'll be answering them. Join us for tomorrow's program here on Imam Hussein TV3, Sky Channel 789 at 5 p.m. London time. If you have a question you'd like to ask, please send it in via the WhatsApp, the email address. Give us a call 0203-515-0199, or alternatively, if you're watching on Facebook Live or you're going to be watching on YouTube, just put your questions in the comment section and my iPad will be charged, inshallah. I'll be able to take in all your questions. Please follow us on the social media handles. We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, and Ahkam SOS has its own private TikTok account. It's not private to the public, but we have our own personal TikTok account where we do load up different material and content, and also we do interact with our followers as well. So if you go onto TikTok and type in Ahkam SOS, you'll find us there, and inshallah you can follow and you can also send in your questions there, inshallah. From myself and from Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We question our daily position, seeking answers and definitions. Get the queries off your chest with Ahkam SOS.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and Ramadan Kareem. The Imam Hussein Charity will be running its food basket campaign again this year, giving you the opportunity to help destitute and impoverished families throughout the whole of Iraq and Afghanistan. Each food basket contains essentials such as rice, flour, dried lemons, tea, fruits and vegetables, oil, tomato paste, dates, and much, much more. Each basket is £25 and can feed a family of 4 for up to 10 days. You can feed a family of 4 for the whole of Ramadan for only £75. You can donate via bank transfer, PayPal, or visit us at www.imamhusseincharity.com.
With more and more victims of war and poverty, the Middle East has seen a surge in patients seeking medical aid. Iraq alone has 2.4 million people without access to any form of medical assistance. In Afghanistan, due to the lack of funding and devastating conflict, the health service is at breaking point. Imam Hussein Charity aims to help provide a better future for these impoverished patients, aiding them with finances for their prescriptions as well as dialysis of their kidneys. You can help our brothers and sisters with purchases of prescriptions for just £20, and for £200 help a patient with a dialysis procedure. To donate or for more information, visit www.imamhusseincharity.com.
This holy month of Ramadan, we bring you the biggest talent show for the Shia community. A fantastic opportunity has been given to the contestants to introduce their voice to the world.